Oh, Lord, this damn Trump trial hasn't even started yet, and there is so much to cover just from the past week of jury selection and some news that I'm not really going to bother covering, but not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is generally, one of the most boring routine parts of the legal process. You're just picking jurors. But there's nothing boring or routine about this case.
No.
And wait, hold on. Which of the Trump cases is this again? Is it the Georgia election interference case?
No.
Is it the federal election interference case?
Uh-uh.
Is it the classified documents case?
No, Elliot.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
It's the hush money case. The one about how during the 2016 election, Trump falsified business records so that he could pay off a porn actress that he'd had sex with so that she'd keep quiet about it, which can maybe be seen as an illegal campaign donation and also a violation of New York tax law.
Now, not to be confused with the other New York case that's also about falsifying business documents.
Right.
That one was about securing loans. This one was about securing silence from a pornography actress.
Or the various defamation cases that also happened in New York recently.
And the one that hasn't been filed yet, but I'm sure is coming within the next couple of years, the Truth Social case.
Oh, the many Truth Social cases.
Devin Nunes has been, he was on Newsmax or something where he's like, we have a serious problem with the SEC because I'm getting a lot of complaints from our investors that the stock keeps going down for some reason. And so we're going to have the SEC look into this, yes. But
Jesus.
so this is the very first time a former U.S. president has been criminally tried for alleged crimes. And the fact that virtually every single person in the country who qualifies as a potential juror has at the very least heard of Donald Trump and probably also has some opinions about him, that makes jury selection a little trickier than usual. On day one, the judge asked the very first group of 96 potential jurors if any of them believed they could not be fair and impartial. And more than 50 of them raised their hands and were immediately excused. You are free to go. One of the prosecutors even said at one point, "No one is suggesting that you can't be a fair juror because you've heard of Mr. Trump. We don't expect you to have been living under a rock for the last 8 years," while also clarifying that the case has, quote, "nothing to do with your personal politics. It's not a referendum on the Trump presidency or a popularity contest of any indication of who you plan to vote for in November. This case is about whether this man broke the law. Did he falsify business records in order to cover up an agreement to unlawfully influence the 2016 presidential election?"
But yeah, nevertheless, Trump is such a polarizing figure that people's opinions of Trump definitely came into play and were used by Trump's lawyers to at least whittle out some of the biggest haters in the jury pool.
I thought Trump loved his haters. What's the deal?
Turns out no.
Yeah.
Here's the Daily Beast. As prosecutors and defense lawyers sparred over the composition of the jury that will ultimately decide the hush money case, some of the prospective jurors' past social media posts about the former president were debated for evidence of possible bias. As a result, for more than an hour, the notoriously thin-skinned Trump was forced to listen to jokes about his appearance, his likability, his intelligence, and, to use a phrase Team Trump first popularized, whether prosecutors should lock him up. These jokes ranged from the caustic to the crude. "I don't think this is what they meant by orange is the new black," read one post shared by a jury candidate's husband around 2016, and which featured a photo of Trump and Barack Obama.
I love that he just had to sit there and take it.
Not a great joke.
These people have Trump derangement syndrome.
You're no Rob Schneider.
Continues. Trump invites the Thai boys to the White House and the boys request to return to their cave. Read a joke shared by another prospective juror referring to the young soccer team rescued in Thailand in 2018. "I'm dumb as fuck," an AI version of Trump said in one video shared by a prospective juror about 2 weeks ago. After admitting they found the video funny, this person was dismissed for cause, but the other two described above ultimately made the jury. No doubt, much to Trump's annoyance.
Yeah, they can only remove. They only get a certain amount of vetoes. They can't waste them.
Look, people do be posting.
Yeah.
It is 2024 and everyone's got a social media presence. So yeah, although Trump has had trouble staying awake at certain points during the trial so far, including on Tuesday when journalists in the court described his head drooping repeatedly, he reportedly had no such problem during this section of the trial. Trump doesn't look amused, Lawfare's Tyler McBreen observed from inside the courtroom. They're very nasty people, these jurors.
So
Joe
nasty.
Biden, handpicked by Joe Biden.
So yeah, I mean, imagine tweeting some dumb offhand bullshit about your dislike for the president of the United States. And then like 6 years later, you're sitting in a courtroom having that tweet read out loud with the former president sitting in the same room, looking at you.
On the
just
record.
staring daggers at you.
And then broadcast on, actual news outlets, but then also here.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Someone's sketching the scowl on
Also,
his face.
apparently smells really bad in there.
Yeah, I guess he's been tooting it up the storm in there.
That butthole is loose and filling that diaper.
Also complaining about too cold. Can we get the heat on in here?
Ooh, too cold.
I've been spending more time down in Mar-a-Lago. It's very cold up here in this New York courtroom. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be maybe the most simultaneously exhilarating and terrifying experience ever. Mm-hmm. Something that you tell your grandkids about. In 2018, I posted some dumb bullshit about the president. And then in 2024, there he was, having it read to him 5 feet away from me.
It has got to be honestly satisfying.
Yeah.
Because, theoretically, you're like, haha, I'm really sticking it to the guy with this amazing post. And then to have it be read in front of him in a place where he can't do shit to you except listen and deal with it, that's got to be just so awesome. Imagine if anyone tweeted during his COVID scare and they pulled up those tweets. Yeah. There's some stuff that would be...
people were basically saying they hope he dies.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's been pretty constant, but especially during that period of time when he was having trouble breathing and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But anyway, with more on these juror selection anecdotes, here's some tweets from journalist Olivia Nuzzi, who live tweeted much of the proceedings from the courtroom. As Trump looks on in the courtroom, his lawyer is reading tweets from a prospective juror in which she called him a racist, sexist, narcissist, and anathema to everything she had been taught by her faith, and that, among other things, he has no sense of right and wrong. The prospective juror is now reading her own tweet aloud, and she remarks, "Oof, that sounds bad." The prospective juror is asked to turn to the second page of her social media post. She sighs dramatically and says, "Ah, gosh. That's a meme," the prospective juror trying to explain a post to the court. Oh, geez.
Even like Trump aside, having to read out your tweets in a courtroom, it's going to change the way you post for the rest of your life.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Mortifying.
Prospective juror 423 tells the court that although, quote, I tend to not agree with a lot of his politics and his decisions as a president, she has taken time to reflect and has concluded that she can nevertheless be totally impartial. Prospective juror adds that it's impossible to avoid other people's opinions about Trump, which really describes the entire problem here. There's so much information about him everywhere.
Yeah, impartiality doesn't mean total fucking ignorance, but there's no one is ignorant of this man, and virtually no one is impartial about him.
You got to get the guy from the Conan podcast.
Everyone on this jury.
Donald Trump, the real estate guy?
Yeah, I could take him or leave him. Yeah, no matter who ends up on this jury, they're gonna have to, even if they are sincerely trying to be impartial, they have to set aside feelings. It's like, what do you want me to say? The guy sucks. But yes, I will take a look at the details of the case, and if he did it, sounds like he did. But if he did it, I'll convict. But if he didn't, I will acquit. A prospective juror talking about who he follows on Twitter tells the court, let's go with Twitter. I don't call it X.
Oh, Elon Musk crying somewhere in the corner.
In the permanent legal record.
Nobody knows what I'm talking about. I'm just going to say Twitter.
Yeah, I think the lawyers and the judges were like, did you post this on X, blah, 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 X? And it's like, stop calling it that. No one calls it that.
Also,
it's Twitter.
Another random side note is the branding is so bad because they use it as logos at sporting events now. You can't see what it's representing from on the screen.
It tells you nothing.
Yeah. Prospective juror who says he was born in Italy is excused after saying he sees comparisons between Trump and Berlusconi.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Berlusconi was the blueprint.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Bunga bunga.
Yeah.
They are very, Berlusconi was a media mogul before politician.
He loved the ladies.
He loved the bunga bunga. Mm-hmm. Got him in a bit of trouble there. And now he's dead. That's the one difference between the two of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of jurors got excused during this process. Imagine if either of us had been in the jury pool. It would be cool if they'd played some of our footage, maybe with one of us doing that Trump voice. But at the very least, we would hope that they'd at least show some thumbnails.
Yeah.
Because we spend a lot of time on
That's
this.
art, baby.
Anyway, here's one dismissed juror explaining the most surprising thing about her truly once-in-a-lifetime experience down at the courthouse.
What was your impression of Donald Trump when you saw him?
He looked less orange, definitely, like more yellowish, like yellow.
Anyways, Trump, of course, had some trouble not reacting to any of the countless social media insults read aloud into the court record. Here's MSNBC.
At one point, Judge Merchan admonished the former president for audibly saying something in the direction of a juror when their social media post was being discussed.
Not funny.
Not one for keeping his thoughts to himself, Trump finally got to sound off after his court appearance when he went to a bodega in Manhattan and said store workers should be allowed to arm themselves against robbers. Then he railed against what he called a rigged trial. And also, there's no crime, Trump added. You know where the crime is? In the bodegas, where they come and they rob them every week.
The bodegas, they're always being robbed.
You can't rob a bodega. They've got those bodega cats all over the place.
Yeah, you get slashed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I got the cat scratch fever. It's very bad. It's very real.
We need to legalize gun ownership, but only for bodegas.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, by day 4, Thursday, they'd at least managed to select 7 of the 12 jurors. And then 2 jurors who had already been selected were excused, bringing the count back down to 5. One was a man who prosecutors had concerns that he might not have been totally honest during his questionnaire. And the other was a woman who very understandably told the judge she was worried for her safety due to the amount of information about her that was being reported in the press, even without her name being out there. On Fox News, Jesse Waters had listed off her educational background, her current profession, her romantic partner's profession, her neighborhood, her marital and parental status, and where she gets her news, before concluding, I'm not so sure about juror number 2.
I would assume that would be jury intimidation.
That's the green light, yeah. Well,
it's
you're
not putting it out there with the intention that someone is going to find out who this person is. That is a little dangerous for what you would assume would be a safe position for someone to be in. That's the other thing is, like, how do you find people who can at least not have a overwhelming opinion, can act impartially, are able and willing to take this much time off of their lives, and then have to worry about their safety for the rest of their lives?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It doesn't end with the trial.
No.
Well, it might if they acquit him, but...
It's a very strange position to put a average human being in.
Yeah.
Anyways, like many aspects of this trial that are unprecedented, the high stakes of this trial mean that anyone on this jury is potentially at risk of doxing, harassment, intimidation, or worse. And not even potentially, I think they should anticipate it so that they're not surprised when it happens.
Yeah.
Trump's most diehard supporters stormed the Capitol over him losing an election. So it's definitely within the realm of possibility that they'd go even further when Trump is facing possible prison time. Though we'd put the likelihood of this trial landing Trump in a jail cell at basically 0, even if he is convicted.
Although he's violated the gag order so many times that
and
we'll see.
He keeps rubbing up against being held in contempt again
Yeah.
in court. He got on his phone at one point. Like, sir, what are you doing?
But, still, Trump supporters, many of whom have already been protesting outside the courtroom before the actual trial even starts, have gotten a very loud and clear message, similar to the loud and clear message they got about the 2020 election being stolen. Their favorite president, as well as their favorite cable news channels, have made it clear that this whole thing is a farce and that it's impossible for Trump to get a fair trial in a place like New York City, where every single person is a card-carrying communist, and therefore even the jurors deemed sufficiently impartial are actually just undercover liberal moles. So this is a valid concern. And the judge was understandably annoyed that it made finding an impartial jury even harder than it already fucking was. Mm-hmm. Here's the New York Times.
The judge in former President Donald J. Trump's criminal trial ordered reporters to not disclose employment information about potential jurors after he excused a woman who said she was worried about her identity becoming known. The woman, who had been seated on the jury on Tuesday, told the judge that her friends and colleagues had warned her that she had been identified as a juror in the high-profile case. Although the judge has kept prospective jurors' names private, some have disclosed their employers and other identifying information in court. She also said that she did not believe she could be impartial. The judge, Juan M. Merchan, promptly dismissed her.
Moments later, Justice Merchan ordered the press to not report the answer to 2 queries on a lengthy questionnaire for prospective jurors. who is your current employer, and who was your prior employer. The judge conceded that the information about employers was necessary for lawyers to know, but he directed that those two answers be redacted from the transcript. Justice Merchan also said that he was concerned about news outlets publishing physical descriptions of prospective or seated jurors, asking reporters to simply apply common sense. It serves no purpose, Justice Merchan said about publishing physical descriptions, adding that he was directing the press to refrain from writing about anything you observe with your eyes.
He's missing the point that a lot of news organizations are going to put this out on purpose to intimidate these jurors.
Yes.
And the I can no longer be impartial is an excuse to get off the jury because you are now terrified. Actually, yeah, you can't be impartial now because you are scared of what the results of your decision might be.
Yeah, I mean, Fox, they're definitely doing it, but like it was also like a lot of journalists from just like New York Times, Washington Post, they were sharing a lot of information where it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, please.
Like, not everything is a story.
Yeah. Anyway, somehow by the end of day 4, they'd managed to fill all 12 spots on the jury. And on Friday, they selected the 6 alternate jurors that will sit in the jury box during the trial, but won't be involved in the verdict unless any of the other jurors get removed from the case, the understudies.
Yeah.
Which, that's usually a worst case scenario formality, but it definitely seems like a possibility here. And even if the jurors themselves don't do something disqualifying, the risk of doxing and harassment remains a very big concern, thanks in large part to our former president's total inability to shut the fuck up, even when explicitly instructed to by a judge. It's called a gag order, and as we've seen in Trump's many other trials, he is not good at following them. By Thursday, he'd already been accused of violating the gag order 7 separate times, all of which stemmed from Truth Social posts where Trump himself didn't say anything, but he quoted news articles and media personalities who did. For example, in one post where he quoted Jesse Waters saying, "They are catching undercover liberal activists lying to the judge in order to get on the Trump jury." Which is rich because...
I didn't say it. Yeah. Jesse said it.
Also very rich because that was something that was explicitly put out by someone who works under the Fox umbrella for true patriots.
Multiple like big conservative influencers and talking heads are like, you have a moral obligation that if you get on this jury, you have to lie and pretend you're not part of the MAGA cult.
Yeah, and then they're like, actually, I've heard that it's actually the liberals doing this.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. But speaking of Truth Social, one of the many questions on the juror questionnaire was about where each of the jurors get their news. And it's a real cross-section of society right here. Mm-hmm. Just one juror out of the 18 jurors and alternates, juror number 2, listed Truth Social as a news source. And their only other listed news source was X.
Well, there goes that trial. I know, in the base terms, I guess, legally, those could be considered where you get some news, I guess. So they kind of have to be like, all right, I mean, it's their opinion of where they want to get it.
Yeah.
But it's so clearly skewed to one particular...
Are they sequestering this jury? Like, they need to put these people in a fucking bunker during the entire course of this case. They need to take away their phones.
Yeah, I don't know. All I can say is, I'm glad it's not me.
I mean, I wish it was me. This would be so exciting.
No, I can't handle the stress.
I'd love it.
Anyways.
So yeah, another juror number 1, was the only one to list Fox News and the Daily Mail. But they also listed MSNBC and the New York Times. You know, I'd like to get a wide, spectrum of perspectives.
I mean, if I was being completely truthful, I'd have to say that too, because we cover stuff that Fox News says and Daily Mail says.
You don't watch Fox. You don't sit down at the TV.
Time for some Gutfield.
Time for me to get my news.
Yeah, no.
Juror number 5's news sources are Google and TikTok. That's it.
Dab.
So that's interesting.
We got a Gen Z juror on our hands.
Juror number 4 and alternate number 2 simply do not get their news anywhere. Not even on social media. They do not get news. They live a news-free lifestyle.
They're unbothered.
Honestly, I'm a tiny bit jealous.
Yeah.
And I'd like to talk to those people about any topic of their choosing to see what it is that goes on in their minds and all that space that would otherwise occupy the events of the world.
Last I heard, last news I got was that Ronald Reagan was taking down Jimmy Carter's solar panels.
Yeah.
That's when I gave up on the news. I said, look, we're just going back and forth here.
I assume someone who simply does not get the news is either just a completely dull, stupid person, or they don't get the news because they devote all of their time to some very esoteric, like specific hobby that they are obsessed with. They're like, I don't know anything about this, but if you ask me about like Warhammer, oh baby, I could talk your ear off.
Oh, what is that I hear? That's a blue jay. I'm a birder. I have no time for current events.
Yeah, I don't get the news because when I'm out train spotting, there's no signal on my phone, and I'm usually out by the tracks.
It's like that Francis Borges guy from England. Just unbothered, just loves the sounds of a train horn.
So but back to that gag order. Here's Rolling Stone.
Donald Trump claimed on Friday that he has been stripped of his constitutional right to speak to the press while ranting to a giant gaggle of reporters.
I'm being silenced.
The former president took time before entering court in his criminal hush money trial to once again complain about a gag order barring him from attacking witnesses, prosecutors, court staff, and jurors involved in the case. The gag order has to come off. People are allowed to speak about me, and I have a gag order, Trump said. They are taking away my constitutional rights to speak, and that includes speaking to you. I have a lot to say to you, and I am not allowed to say it, and I'm the only one. Everyone else can say whatever they want about me. They can say anything they want. They can continue to make up lies, but I'm not allowed to speak. I want to speak to the press and everybody else about it. So why am I gagged?
Why am I gagged?
It must feel weird to have a gag order when kind of this is what you did to the person that is the case is revolving around.
That is an interesting...
Hush money, gag order.
Interesting
Who gives
irony.
a shit?
Yeah. Anyways, the trial officially starts on Monday. And given how much we've heard about the details of this case for the past, 7 years, this jury selection process might end up being more interesting than the trial itself.
Yeah.
At least until it gets to the verdict part, which will be very interesting. But meanwhile, also next week, the U.S. Supreme Court is going to be deciding on the question of whether Trump can even be charged with crimes, or that he's totally immune to criminal prosecution. Seems like a bridge too far for even this Supreme Court. But who the hell knows?
Where's Clarence Thomas? Is he back yet?
He's getting the limitless drug injected into him so that he can live forever.
Okay.
In any case, whatever the results of the Supreme Court case, it would not apply to Trump's New York case, which revolves around stuff that he did before becoming president. Oh, geez. But all those other trials could be deemed unconstitutional by this time next week.
Yeah.
Poof, gone. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And if that happens, I don't know. I would assume people would fucking riot because it's one of the few times where, that is the correct response.
Yeah.
The system has proven itself to be invalid.
It's
but we'll see, I guess.
Weird time.
Liberals will come up with a hashtag, change the color of their profile pic, and And you know what? You gotta vote.
Just get out there and
shut up and vote.
While you're all screaming, "Go NBA playoffs teams!" I'm screaming, "Go Robert Mueller and the rule of law." So, anyways, exciting. We were blessed to live in exciting times, weren't we, folks?
Yeah, I mean, we did get some. Honestly, Trump's been in a courtroom so many times throughout his life, but there was one from this week that is the GOAT. Did you see
the artist rendering
where he's smirking?
Hello.
He looks kind of like
the Grinch,
kind of like the King of Queens meme a little bit.
Oh yeah. Couldn't be me.
And also, when I first saw it was a close-up, but it's actually a really wide shot. So it's all these, yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here into this courtroom. It's a funny story.
I have to be in here filling my diaper while I am supposed to be at the Supreme Court and at my beautiful son Barron's graduation.
My gigantic son.
He's 6 foot tall and he's very, very handsome.
He's way more than 6.
Yeah, he's 6'7" or something. It's outrageous. But apparently people did look into it. And Trump has been very wishy-washy on attending any of his children's big moments of their lives. I mean, his kids are 40 now, so it's a bit different. Also, he's just using it as an excuse. That is, it's so blatant.
Oh, my son's graduation.
Don't you know how much I love him? I'm always photographed with him. I'm always doing things with him.
I'm always physically in his presence.
You know how I'm always golfing? Yeah, he's right there next to me. No.
Does he even go to school in Florida?
I don't know, because that was the thing originally, was that he was going to be like going back to New York to go to school. Or anyways, very exciting for the colleges around the country to see where he's going to end up.
College basketball programs.
Oh my, he should do that.
A lot of scouts just looking at him. God.
Yeah.
Not only is he tall, he's controversial.
There was like
we love a good controversy.
I think it was like years ago now, but someone had the Twitter like, sorry that, man, it sucks that this guy had to be president because his son was born to ball. Like,
he's built for it.
But let's move on from all that Trump news and talk about Madison Cawthorn. Remember him? He was the young, wheelchair-bound Republican congressman who went from being a bright, rising star in his party to being a total pariah in the course of a single congressional term, mostly thanks to the fact that he insinuated his colleagues were all going to cocaine orgies, but also because he kept repeatedly getting caught trying to sneak guns into places that don't allow them, and also driving without a license. It's been pretty quiet on the Madison Cawthorn front since the Republican Party basically had him replaced with someone less embarrassing, but he is back in the news this week for doing something that totally sounds like something he would do. And
in a place where, that makes sense.
He knows that he's getting into trouble all the time. And it's because, I maintain, it's because we mentioned his name.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about Madison Cawthorn. We said his name last week, and bing, bang, boom.
Our lathe of heaven has manifested Madison Cawthorn back into the news.
Yes. Here's the Miami Herald.
A Florida state trooper was injured on Monday in a car crash on I-75, allegedly, but come on, involving former U.S. Representative Madison Cawthorn, a Republican who represented North Carolina for one term. A 2021 Mercedes rear-ended the Florida Highway Patrol Dodge Charger in a construction zone in Collier County, FHP said in a statement. The state trooper sustained minor injuries and was transported to an area hospital, according to FHP. The agency didn't identify Cawthorn as the driver, but a passerby posted video on X Monday afternoon of the crash, showing what appeared to be the controversial right-wing firebrand in his wheelchair on the side of the highway near the crashed Mercedes. The details shared by the woman matched details from FHP, which said the crash happened at about 4:30 p.m. in a construction zone on the highway. The poster wrote that the driver of the Mercedes had been driving aggressively and tailgating her relentlessly just minutes before rear-ending the state trooper. She noted that while she did not witness the crash, she saw the officer getting out of his vehicle holding his neck.
God, it's got to be so satisfying when that happens, and then someone that is fucking with you on the highway to get into a crash immediately.
I mean, there's like entire subreddits devoted to that specific experience.
Mm-hmm.
And just a special place in hell for people who need to get where they're going 3 minutes faster than they would otherwise and put everyone else's safety at risk in the process.
In the video taken by TikTok user Swifties for Palestine, amazing. That's definitely Madison Cawthorn, who's got a look on his face that says, "Aw, geez, not again." Because around this area is where he got into the crash that,
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
The original crash, the origin story crash.
Yeah. And I could be wrong because it's my growing up in Florida, but Collier County.
Is that what I said?
No.
Collier?
Collier County.
Collier?
We called it Collier County.
Okay.
But there's also that little bit of twang. But
or you Spanish? Collier?
I don't think so,
Collier
Elliot.
County?
I don't think so, Elliot.
I'm going to call it Collier County.
Also, why isn't he driving some cool American muscle? Why is he driving a German car?
Yeah.
He must hate America.
Why is he driving that Nazi sled?
Yeah. Get that Merc out of here. So you also see his car, which is the exact sort of matte black Mercedes C-Class coupe that you'd expect to be driving like a fucking jackass on the highway. Now, what you don't expect is that after the car crashes full speed into a parked police car, a disgraced former congressman is going to wheel himself out. And Swifties for Palestine's Twitter post about the incident conveys a real sense of shock that I think most of us would feel if we found ourselves in a similar situation.
It's a great post. She's just like, yeah, some asshole's like following me, and like, I finally pull over, and then up ahead, it looks like there's trouble. All the cars slow down, and oh my fucking God. Is that Madison Cawthorn? Like, shocked emoji.
Because to slam on the brakes, you gotta like pull on one of the wheel levers or something.
Yeah, I'm not, like, yeah, they operate the gas and the brakes with levers.
Yeah.
If your legs don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like not the ideal situation for driving erratically.
Yes, to be reckless driving like that is very odd.
Like, it's dangerous when you're operating the car as it was intended to be driven. It's a bit more dangerous when you're operating it like that.
It would have been funny if he wheeled out and was like, the officer broke my legs.
It's a good thing I had this wheelchair in the back of my car. I'm paralyzed. But speaking of Swifties, New York Magazine's The Cut, who has just been on a fucking roll the last 6 months or so, they published a story this week about how Taylor Swift has increasingly become a wedge issue in a lot of female friendships, forcing women to choose between their love of Tay-Tay and their friends who don't really get it. There's some pretty wild paragraphs in here, so let's read. Early last year, Ligia Ponce posed a seemingly innocent, depends on who you ask, question on her Instagram story. What is it about the Taylor Swift fandom? I don't understand the hype. The 29-year-old had been watching the scramble for Eras tour tickets unfold over social media and wanted to understand why people were willing to pay the high resale prices. Some tickets were reselling for $22,000. Then her college best friend stopped speaking to her. Her friend had just spent the previous 3 days waiting in a virtual queue to secure tickets.
It was the breaking point in a long-term friendship that was growing apart, Ponce says. After 2 months of no contact, Ponce got a text out of the blue. I forgive you. She said that she felt like I didn't support her love for Taylor Swift, especially knowing how much she had to work to get the concert tickets, Ponce tells me. Of all the things, I never expected that to be the thing that would push her away. The entire ordeal soured her feelings about the friendship. Clearly, they were not on the same page. They're still amicable now, Ponce says, but not necessarily friends. Whatever, that was doomed anyway. She's like, of all the things that we could hate each other for, this is the one thing? Well, it sounds like things weren't going too great. This was just the final straw.
Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, there are a bunch more examples of this. A lot of them do seem to stem from someone spending an absurd amount of time and money on attending the Eras tours and their friends finding this irresponsible and or unrelatable. In one example, a friendship ended when a 25-year-old who flew to Europe for a Taylor show was called stupid by her now former friend.
No, that's smart. They probably paid half the price to go see it in Europe and got a trip to Europe.
You got to fly there.
But you get the trip to Europe instead of paying the $22,000 here.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Taylor's also affecting how new friendships are formed. From the article, in new friendships, the mention of Swift alone can be enough to grind a blossoming talking stage to an immediate halt. It happened to one 34-year-old New Yorker, let's call her Maria, after she started hanging out with her best friend's brother's fiancé in February 2020. The friendship progressed rapidly. They were hanging out weekly, grabbing dinner and drinks. Then that July, the topic of Taylor Swift came up over appetizers at a restaurant in Soho.
Maria's friend knew that she wasn't a fan of Swift. She had mentioned prior that she always wanted to like her music, but just couldn't get into it. But at this hangout, she told her she needed to examine why she didn't like the artist, insinuating that she doesn't like her because men don't like her. Maria listed other female singer-songwriters she did like Fiona Apple, but her friend retorted that they were pick-me musicians who were approved of by men.
Okay.
Fiona Apple? I mean, I love Fiona Apple, but like...
She's a real pick-me, that Fiona Apple.
Oh. She said, I have more expensive taste in music than you, and that's when I lost my patience, Maria says. She went to the restroom, and when she came back, her friend apologized, but it was enough for Maria not to want to pursue the friendship further. There were other things, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back for me, she says. Oh my.
I do feel a lot of this comes down to like women just having a ton of friendships that are really just two people tolerating each other.
Yeah.
I feel like women do that a lot more than men. Where they're like, well, yeah, this is my best friend. We fucking hate each other. Everything is constantly on thin ice.
I've seen a lot of the conversations online, and look, this is all circumstantial or whatever evidence, but like a lot are true where it's like, you go and they're like, oh, what'd you guys talk about? Literally nothing.
Yeah.
Literally, we just hung out and talked about fucking nothing. Or like, what do your friends do? No fucking idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea what my best friends do. With their time, with their job, anything like that.
Who cares?
Yeah, everyone just hangs out. There's no, I don't know. But on the same end, like I have a bunch of friends that are Swifties. I just don't say anything.
Yeah, it's not my place.
Yeah.
I mean, if asked, I will say, yeah, I don't fucking get it.
Yeah.
If they have a problem with that, so be it.
There must be other issues. If they're going to stop talking to you because of this, there has to be other issues.
I guess.
Anyways, listen. I think we can all relate to this at least partially. You want your friends to like the same things that you do, but this isn't this is something else. Society has gotten less religious over time, but this is basically just the 21st century version of a Catholic being friends with a Lutheran. We've strayed from God, but clearly lots of people still need something to fill that God-sized hole in their lives, and that can create problems with other people whose God-sized hole has something else in it, like doomsday cults and astrology and believing in wacky shit. Taylor Swift is the new third place. You got work, you got home, and you got Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And you get a whole bunch of actual friends and community out of liking that. And so, essentially harmless, but yeah, friendships might be ruined over it.
There might be some friendships.
Oh,
that get
Elliot
left
doesn't
in dust.
believe in the flat earth. Done.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
My earth is round.
Yeah.
You can have your flat earth. Mine is round. It's like a big ball.
At a base level, everyone just needs to calm the fuck down. And we've got the perfect role model for that. Here's CNN.
Jason Kelce is continuing to do Jason Kelce things even after retiring from the NFL. In the latest episode of the New Heights podcast, which he does with his brother, Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce, the legendary center revealed that he recently lost his Super Bowl 52 ring in the most unlikely way possible, in a pool of chili. It occurred at the recent Great Lombaby Games, a live show hosted by the brothers which sees teams compete in ridiculous games. One challenge saw participants wading through pools of Skyline chili, searching for replica Super Bowl rings tied to socks. Crucially, though, one of those replicas was actually Kelce's genuine ring, which he won with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2018. I legitimately lost my Super Bowl ring in this event. They could not find it, Jason said, with his brother Travis less than impressed. We have still yet to find it. All this stuff has been thrown away, so I think we can safely assume that my Super Bowl ring is now in a landfill someplace in the Cincinnati tri-state area. I didn't think that would happen.
Lost my Super Bowl ring in a vat of chili it fits his whole persona. I love it.
This dude rules.
Yeah, it's a shame that he's already done. Well, not already done, but now that they've risen to a level of fame that is undeniable.
Well, he's got more time to do stuff like this.
Yeah. Hosting chili cook-offs. And, you know what probably happened is this happened at a Dodger game a week ago where typically if the opposing team hits a home run, they throw the ball back on the field. Did you see the clip of the guy who caught the Padres home run and immediately switched it in his hoodie pocket to one that he brought with him and threw the other one back? They caught him and they went and interviewed him and he's like, yeah, what are you guys doing? I did. Why you put me on blast? So yeah, it'd be pretty easy to take one of the replica ones and be like, oh, wow, I don't know.
Yeah.
Did anyone lose the actual ring?
Yeah, you should. It's someone at the show.
Yeah.
Like, they pulled out like a metal detector and everything, like apparently, and she's like, I guess it's gone. Like, no, someone stole your ring, buddy.
Yeah. So Swifties, if the brother of Taylor Swift's boyfriend can lose a symbol of the most important achievement of his career in a giant pool full of chili and not be that torn up about it, you can be friends with people who don't love Taylor Swift as much as you do. In fact, I'd say you're probably going to age forward at a couple years or decades and look back and say, well, that was silly.
Yeah.
I probably should have kept in touch with that person. You probably still have plenty in common.
Yeah.
And guess what? There's plenty of other amazing artists out there that you could get really into. But look, it's time to get to the second half of the show. But first, we have some ads. If being friends with someone who thinks spending thousands of dollars on Taylor Swift tickets is dumb, and if that's giving you an ulcer, guess what? This episode's sponsor, ZocDoc, can help.
So you know when you get cornered by that aunt at a family gathering and you feel like you have to bend the truth? You know, the one who asks when you're getting married, or what's going on with that promotion, or why you still haven't moved out of mom and dad's basement.
Did you ever find that Super Bowl ring?
Or where that Super Bowl ring is, or why you spent $4,000 seeing Taylor Swift in Barcelona, only for her to not really listen to your reasons and just judge you? While you may have to grin and bear it with your family, you shouldn't feel that way when talking to your doctor about that rash that weirdly looks like Taylor Swift. Enter ZocDoc, the place where you can find and book doctors who will make you feel comfortable and actually listen to you. And we're not talking about a few. We're talking about tens of thousands of doctors, all with verified patient reviews, so you can make sure the vibes are vibing before you ever meet IRL. With ZocDoc, you've got more options than you know.
ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online. Once you find the doc you want, you can book them immediately. No more waiting awkwardly on hold with a receptionist. And these docs all have verified reviews from actual real patients. We're talking about booking appointments with tens of thousands of top-rated, patient-reviewed, credible doctors and specialists. You can filter specifically for ones who take your insurance, are located near you, and treat basically any condition that you're searching for. The typical wait time to see a doctor booked on ZocDoc is between just 24 to 72 hours. That's it. You can even score same-day appointments.
After so many years of navigating this country's dysfunctional health insurance system, this is something that would have saved both of us so much time, stress, and annoyance over the years, but it's finally here. Hooray. Just go to ZocDoc.com/weeklyweird and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/weeklyweird. ZocDoc.com/weeklyweird.
All right, time to get into the weirdest, wildest, craziest headlines from around the world this week. Starting with
Kamala Harris is almost as popular as Beyonce, new poll shows.
Oh, you think I just fell out of a coconut tree?
Yeah, more and more people are realizing that they exist within the context of everything that came before them. This is a funny headline. Definitely part of the what many have been calling the soft launch of Kamala Harris over the past few months.
Yeah.
As Joe Biden's popularity continues to stagnate.
Yeah.
But this headline's great. My favorite kind of headline is one where it is true. They are not lying. However, in the actual context, it's kind of not true. Because yeah, Kamala Harris and Beyonce both have like roughly 45% approval. Kamala Harris has like 55% disapproval, whereas Beyonce it's like 25%. So most people are just like, whatever, I'll take her or leave her. Pretty much everyone has an opinion one way or the other.
It's like
on
saying
Kamala.
like Donald Trump is more popular than Taylor Swift. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe, I guess, because just of everything. But that's a very weird headline to put forward. But yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be listening to Kamala Harris's country album.
No.
Maybe
her reggae album.
We did it, Joe. We did it, Joe.
Yeah, I'm ready. You know what? I never been a fan of this woman, even back when she was still in California state politics. But I'm ready. They've worn me down enough that bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring on President Kamala.
No.
It's time for America to fall out of that coconut tree.
No! Biden says his uncle may have been eaten by cannibals.
This is such a...
It was delicious.
I love... This guy's been in fucking politics for like 60 years. I love that he just drops this random like new lore.
Yeah.
Like randomly. I think he was at some like war memorial or some shit. But yeah, I guess his uncle, his plane went down in World War II over like New Guinea, and they found the plane, but they never found the body. And he's like, there used to be cannibals around there back then, Jack. So we think he got eaten.
My uncle was he crashed his plane and walking around, and people look at him like he had a giant roasted turkey.
Like, damn, he got hairy legs.
Yeah, he got that turkey is just delicious.
That's right.
They ate him right up.
They ate him right
up with a side of mashed potatoes. He was delicious.
They licked his bones clean, my uncle.
He lathered himself up in ketchup and mustard. Boy, he was delicious.
Marjorie Taylor Greene demands space lasers to combat migrants.
Oh, now she's in favor of the Jewish space lasers?
Yeah. So, backstory, she did talk about Jewish space lasers, blaming them for wildfires like 4 or 5 years ago.
We need to redirect those lasers.
She does seem to genuinely believe, just sort of picking up context clues, it seems that she thinks that the Iron Dome that Israel has is a space laser and not just like basically a giant trophy system that shoots.
Anti-air defense.
Yeah, she thinks it is it's lasers in space stopping. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Israel does have some sort of laser weapon that can do something.
Yeah, laser guided or whatever.
But you would use that to like stop like a ICBM or something. What the fuck is a space laser going to do to the border? How's that going to work? You want these people to just get like fried?
Vaporized?
Yeah. I don't think that's right. Like, it's one thing to be want closed borders and whatnot, but increasingly it seems like they just want these people to fucking die.
Yes.
And they want to set up elaborate like traps so they can kill them in interesting ways.
She seems like a kind of a bad person.
Yeah, I'm starting to get that vibe. Bad vibes from this Marjorie Taylor Greene. Also, she posted another workout video recently, and every time she does that, I'm like, how the fuck is your back not broken? She's one of those CrossFit people, so she's doing like pull-ups, but just like jerking around like this, like just insane form. And yeah, explains a lot.
DeSantis signs bill mandating kindergartners learn history of communism.
Oh my God, this fucking guy. You know, I almost...
They have to go with a field trip, mandatory field trip to that Shenyang, China before communism.
China before communism.
Yeah.
4,000 years. I went to that, by the way.
Yeah, good stuff.
The tickets were given to me as a gift by someone else who didn't know what they were.
Oh, they'll just give those away.
I was like, yeah, I saw them as saw the billboards. Seems like something cool. And like about halfway through it, I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, I'm starting to pick up what this is. But not just kindergarten. They're going to be teaching the history of communism in every class, K through 8 in high school. And, you know, on the surface, like, I'm like, sure, sounds great. But what they're actually going to do is it's literally just, he was surrounded like by Bay of Pigs survivors doing this. Like, no, it's just going to be not the real, like, they're not going to tell a accurate picture of anything. It's going to be the same shit they've already been saying, but now putting in schools. Also, kids aren't learning jack shit, not nearly enough about our own country in elementary school. Yeah. I don't know if we have time to fit the history of communism class. Yeah, I love the idea. It's like, all right, well, 10 a.m. to 11, we're going to have, block play time. You're going to play with blocks. And then you're going to go out and you're going to have the playground time. And then when you get back, right after lunch, no more napping, time for communism class. And no sharing. Yeah. No, if you share, you're going to be in so much trouble. We'll put you in our little gulag. It's a little, you got to go over there. It's in the corner. Our little gulag. Teach you a lesson. Yeah. You didn't like that, did you? Well, imagine if you lived in a gulag every day. Yeah. No cookies in the gulag. Idaho lawmaker asks if swallowing small camera could allow remote gynecological exams. So, if you swallow one of these little pills that's got a camera in it, you could check out a woman's hoo-ha, vagina, whatever. No, sir, it's not connected to the digestive system. It's they pay out of a different hole. Hold on a sec. 2 holes? My God! Are there any other holes that you're hiding from me? Yeah, these are the people making decisions about women's reproductive health. Yeah. They're like, yeah, just swallow a pill. Goes down your throat, into your stomach, and then into your vagina, into your cervix. Shut up. Oklahoma must think pro wrestling is real with its ban on trans women wrestlers. This is like crazy. So AEW, I guess one of their star performers is a trans woman, and she fights in matches against other women wrestlers, and they had an event in Oklahoma, and the state of Oklahoma has like strong rules about trans athletes competing against natural born women. And like that's stupid enough, but like then they're like, it's wrestling. Yeah. It's not real. The whole thing's scripted. You fucking moron. And their press release for it is just like so hateful. Like they used like male pronouns every time they talked about this wrestler. Like it's just like, fuck off. But I mean, it seems like the AEW and just like the people who run it and the fan community is they're on the right side of this issue. You wouldn't want Brody King showing up to your state capitol, that's for sure. No, sir. My hoo-ha's gonna be out. Nike's My hoo-ha's gonna be out. Nike's U.S. Olympic outfits need constant pube vigilance, say frustrated athletes. Is this another Fanatics special? Because Nike is the ones kind of producing the MLB uniforms, and it's also the problem with the NHL stuff. I think it's someone down at the uniform factory is real horny. Dude, it's crazy. I noticed this because I went to a game this week. The old jerseys that they gave out for free as promotional items are almost on the level of what is being sold now. Because I got a new Ohtani jersey, and it's like, whatever, it is what it is. And there's a guy wearing a promotional one with the Budweiser logo and all that. I'm like, those are sewn on almost. Yeah. It's so frustrating. And the players hate it. Everyone hates it. They can't say anything though because Fanatics is in bed with all the leagues. Fanatics trying to dick shame every athlete in the MLB. Yeah. But yes, the Olympic athletes, it's going to be... Yeah, so this one, it's like the cut the cut on these gymnastics and like track and field uniforms is like kind of insane. Like it goes like straight up. Like you got very little wiggle room down there.
Mm-hmm.
And the women are just like, they're like, listen, if this made sense for athletic wear, the men would be wearing it.
Yeah.
Their shit has like shorts. It makes sense. You're making us wear this shit, and I'm supposed to be doing elite athleticism, and I'm gonna be constantly worrying if my fucking vagina lips are popping out of my uniform, causing a wardrobe malfunction on international broadcast.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they do anything about that, but...
they ought to have little sensor bars that follow them around everywhere.
Yeah.
For indecency. Especially in America, where you can't be seeing any of that stuff. You know?
No, you can't.
No. Now, the Olympics are in Paris this year, so they'll love it over there.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Ford recalls thousands of Broncos on same day O.J. Simpson dies. What a fitting tribute.
Yeah, they really do move in herds. Broncos, and they recalled a bunch of escapes too. The Ford Escape. So obviously they discontinued the Bronco after the OJ thing because it was
on the nose
so associated with it. We're like, we need an SUV that doesn't remind people of O.J. Simpson running from the police. What do we call it? The Escape.
Yeah.
They had to, obviously all of these Broncos need to attend the funeral of their godfather, O.J. Simpson.
The new Bronco is an interesting car because...
I think it looks really cool.
The ones that look cool do look cool. There's also like the affordable model that literally looks terrible.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen that one.
Yeah, the ones, you can tell the difference, but they do one that does like the classic colors, the blue and white.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah, I think it's a great looking car.
It is. And an American, unlike Madison Cawthorn.
Yeah.
I drive American.
I drive American, baby.
Yeah.
Governor Reeves proclaims Confederate Heritage Month in Mississippi. And for he's done this every year for quite a while. But Confederate Heritage Month, where
celebrating the loss.
150 years later, we celebrate that idyllic time period that was 4 years long? That's it? It was 4 years of the Confederacy existing. So many things have existed longer than the entire length of time the Confederacy was
This
around.
is literally...
What fucking heritage are you talking about?
This is done intentionally to provoke a response.
Of course it is. But it's just like,
But it's like, why do you gotta be a dick all the time?
And what heritage exactly?
Yes.
What do you mean?
You're a fucking loser?
Which heritage?
Or a racist, or what, like, it's bizarre. Anyways.
It's weird. Like, with a place like Texas... Like, I can see why they do, like, Texas state history, because it does have an interesting history, even without the Confederacy, where they were, like, a republic. And then, like, Louisiana's got very much its own thing as well.
Yeah.
But Mississippi don't really have any of that. So they're like, Confederate history. Remember that time we were our own country before we got our asses completely handed to us?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I bet if we did it again, we'd win.
Female Yu-Gi-Oh player quits tournament because opponents smelled bad. But that's a tactic. You don't understand. That's strategy, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't handle the smell?
Your loss.
Yeah. Literally your loss.
Yeah, this was some Japanese people love Twitter. It's like...
Oh, yeah. Linda's really singing the praises.
It's like the biggest market for Twitter outside of the U.S. is Japan. Yeah. But anyway, this was like some dude being like, oh, I was at a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament and I saw this girl and I guess she lost because she left early. Like, I hope she doesn't... I hope she comes back and sticks with it. And the girl saw the tweet and she's like, no, I left because it smelled fucking terrible in there. I was doing great, by the way.
Yeah.
The guy I was playing smelled disgusting.
You know what she needs to do? Maybe they would ban this, but maybe not. They would bring some Vicks Vapor Rub for under the nose. I think that's how coroners and like people that do crime scene cleanup, get a little Vicks Vapor Rub up there.
You'd have to do something.
Speaking of Twitter, an anecdote before I forget. This is just another, in between innings, sometimes I would check sports Twitter to see about the other games going on or whatever, or just because it's boring between the innings. I remember last night it being like, I literally don't want to open this app in public.
Yeah.
Because it's either going to be someone getting killed, someone getting hurt very badly, or straight up pornography. Yeah. You cannot open replies anymore without pornography.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot open Twitter in public if you want to be a normal person. Someone's gonna see some fucked up shit.
Can't do it.
Yeah. It's just a bizarre thing that I noticed specifically last night. Like, oh, I can't even open this app in public.
Got to get one of those screen protectors that like you have to look at it straight on, or else it's
put my
shady.
hazmat suit on,
Yeah.
get the screen protector, and log on to twitter.com. Anyways, that's it for this week's episode of Weekly Weird News. We'll be back with more next week, but in the meantime, have a great weekend, and we will see you soon. We have new videos popping up over here, but make sure you like this video. Make sure you click the like button because that does more than anything else to help our channel grow. Reply to a comment, leave a comment, make sure you're subscribed. If you feel like it, hit the join button. Watch these videos over here. We got more Trump trial news. We got the Incel AI box. All kinds of stuff for you to watch. Check that out, and we'll see you soon.
And 420 blaze it.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Bye.